The City of Norco City Council regular meeting for Wednesday, December 5th. Call to order at 7 p.m. or 7:02. Roll call from the city clerk.
Council members Newton.
Here.
Hannah.
Here.
Bash.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Grunmeyer.
Yes.
Mayor Hoffman.
Yes.
All present.
And please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance in honor of our flag, in honor of President George Herbert Walker Bush. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing for Pastor Phil. Invocation.
Great to see everyone tonight. Good to see Berwin keeping the Christmas spirit alive. Thank you, Berwin. Why don't we go ahead and pray and ask God's blessing on this time. Heavenly Father, we thank you, Lord, for this assembly. Lord, we thank you for the leadership of this city, who you have placed in those positions, who represent us as the citizens. Lord, we pray that they would carry this responsibility well, that you would give them your grace for the job ahead. Father, we also thank you for all the other representatives here this evening from CAL FIRE and the Sheriff's Department, and for all the service they give to our community. Please protect them as they serve, and they serve well. And Lord, I just pray for the families represented in our community during this Christmas time. I pray that families where there might be conflict, that you would give them grace and forgiveness, that they would show forgiveness to one another. And we pray that there would be joy in our families this Christmas time. We thank you for the gift of your Son. Be with our leaders and the decisions being made. Bless them with wisdom. And in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you.
Thank you, Pastor Phil. Please be seated. And Eric, I think you have some introductions to do here.
Good evening, Mayor, members of City Council. It is my pleasure tonight to introduce two of our newest members to the Norco Sheriff's Office, and if I would, I'd like to call them both up here. CSO2 Anita Tovar and Sergeant Robert Torres. Say hello. So I'm going to talk about Anita Tovar first. She's been a county employee since 2001. She actually started at the Riverside Station as an office assistant. She goes back away, and our career paths crossed back those 17 years ago. From there, in 2008, she was transferred to the department's telephone reporting unit, where she learned to take reports and talk to the public. In 2018, she was finally promoted to the position of Community Service Officer 2 and was assigned to the Norco contract. So she's handled investigations, she's worked with the public, so she has a good service record, and her experience will be beneficial towards serving the citizens of Norco. And a little bit more about her: she has a 19-year-old son, and we think she's a great addition to the Norco Sheriff's Office. Please welcome CSO2 Anita Tovar. Last but not least, and actually this is Robert Torres, and he's been with us for a few months now, and he actually sat in the last city council for me, so I appreciate that. A little bit about him: he's been employed with our department since 2002. He was initially assigned to corrections with the Robert Presley Detention Center before moving on to the Hoopie Valley Station. He was a school resource for several years, and we know we value our school resource officers in Norco. He was on the Hoopie Valley SET team for 2 years. We know we value our SET team deputies, and he was promoted to position of corporal at Hoopie Valley Station, and he held that assignment for 4 years, basically augmenting and supplementing the watch commanders with scheduling and training and keeping them afloat, because we all know that they can be very busy. Another couple of tidbits about him: he's been a department hostage negotiator for 5 years, and that means he's got a lot of patience. So that's a good asset. He's bilingual. He's married with 2 sons, and his eldest happens to be a deputy currently serving with our department in the Corrections Bureau. He and his wife have fostered 10 kids through the foster care system, and they have just recently adopted 2 daughters. Sergeant Torres brings a wealth of service and experience to the city of Norco, and we're very pleased to have him. Ladies and gentlemen, Robert Torres.
Well, on behalf of the City Council, welcome. Anita, this is so far away from TRU, But I respect, after dealing with the Sheriff's Department, the TRU unit, for those you don't know, is a wealth of information, and those people really take a burden off of the sheriff's deputies. So I'm glad your experience coming here. And Robert, if I hear you ask for a hailer, I know exactly what you're asking for in a hostage negotiation team. So I appreciate all the experience you're bringing to the city. And I know last week or 2 weeks ago you got to sit in the chair. So welcome aboard. Any other council members? Anything? Welcome aboard. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, I'm dragging this on unless the assistant city managers from Eastville is here. If not, I see we have a bunch of students in here. And Mayor Pro Tem Grunmeyer, are these yours? They are. Well, welcome. And I hope you get a chance to see the change in the guard here tonight. I think what we're going to do is, so we don't keep the council and the rest of the public going, we'll go into the reorganization of city council first. And is that going to be you, Cheryl, doing that one? Or that's us, right? All right. For that, I'm open to nominations.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
I'd like to, I'll be polite.
All right, be polite.
I'd like to nominate Mayor Pro Tem Grunmeyer to the position of mayor.
Second.
I have a first and a second. Do I hear any other nominations? Not. You know, these kids are supposed to be in here learning respect, okay? Let's go on. I know you are. Does the nominee object?
No, if I can say something real quick.
Yep.
And this is for the residents, because my colleagues up here already know. I have a full-time job, and I am very busy, and I think I've done pretty well meeting the obligations of being a council member for the residents of Norco, but I do want people to know that I will be leaning on my colleagues as I take over this position, because there are things that happen during normal business hours that may sometimes prevent me from being able to represent the city in the capacity of mayor. So I will be leaning on my colleagues in that aspect so that I fulfill my obligations at work with the young people that you see here. So if the residents of Norco will allow me some of that leeway and understand my responsibilities outside of this position, I would greatly appreciate that.
Well said. Having that in mind, I see the voting machine is up.
Please vote.
Please vote.
That motion passes unanimously.
All right. Do we change the gavel now? Let her do the mayor pro tem? All right, just give it 2 minutes while we change positions.
Click your heels.
Yeah.
It's permanent now.
That's just the notes. They give you notes? All right. All right. It's electronic gavel.
Thank you. Sir?
Wow.
That's a lot.
So while you're waiting, I will tell you the section over here is full because tonight's the last city council meeting before the end of the semester. They don't wait till the last minute or anything, so.
We came just for you.
Mm-hmm.
We're so excited.
Thank you. No, this is not. All right, so at this time, I will take nominations for the position of Mayor Pro Tem.
I nominate Berwin Hanna.
I second that.
Okay, any discussion?
Do you want it?
You're going to be busy, potentially.
That keeps me out of trouble. Yeah, I thank you folks. I'll accept the nomination. And if I get it, I'll be happy to help the mayor out when she's occupied with other deals in the city. Thank you.
All right, then we will go ahead and vote.
Please vote on this item. That motion passes unanimously.
Okay, congratulations, Mayor Pro Tem Hanna. All right, at this time, we will move on to the next item on the agenda, and if council will join me at the podium, we are going to do a presentation to our outgoing Mayor Hoffman.
Don't drop trowel.
All right, it's my pleasure to begin the presentation to our outgoing mayor, Mr. Ted Hoffman. When we look at his accomplishments for city and regional governments, Mayor Hoffman has been quite busy on several boards. He represented the city on the Local Agency Formation Commission, Western Riverside County Regional Wastewater Authority, the George A. Ingalls Veterans Memorial Executive Committee. He was a lead on the Manure to Energy Issues Committee, California Rehabilitation Center Citizens Advisory Committee, and also served on the Norco College Traffic Advisory Committee. He provided strong leadership in the placement of the city's transactions and use tax, Revenue Measure R, on the November 2018 ballot and advocated for the residents' passage of Measure R. He provided strategic leadership in handling the potential transition of the city's election system from an at-large to a district-based election system. He provided direction and leadership in the resolution of the Riverside County civil grand jury investigation regarding Silver Lakes. He supported the city's efforts to oppose legislation on small cell towers and high-density housing. He delivered a strong State of the City address that made a substantial case for the placement of Measure R on the November 2018 election ballot. He presided over the Youth in Government Day in March that provided students from Norco High School and JFK Middle High School an opportunity to shadow department heads and council members, and they even participated in a mock city council meeting. He also supported city efforts in the subsequent approval of the State Historic Commission's listing of the Norconian property on the National Register of Historic Places. When we look at his accomplishments and financial initiatives, he helped with approving the refunding of the CFD number 2001-1, the Norco Ridge Ranch. Those 2006 bonds generating an annual savings to property owners in the district ranging from anywhere from $590 to $805 per parcel. Approved the Community Facilities District 97-1, those folks living in the Norco Hills. The 2005 bonds generating an annual savings of approximately $414 per parcel. Approved the refunding of the 2005 and 2010 successor agency redevelopment bonds to generate a debt service savings of over $9.1 million for all taxing entities through the remaining 19-year life of those bonds. And our city's share of those savings is estimated to be over $77,000 annually. He presided over the upgrade of the successor agency redevelopment debt by Standards & Poor's from an A+ to an AA- rating, supported the continued practice of setting aside money to pay for unfunded retiree medical insurance liabilities, resulting in a balance of over $9.1 million, including interest earnings as of September 30th, 2018, presided over increases in fund balances, such as an increase in the general fund reserves from $11.4 million to $11.7 million. The water fund has a working capital of $1.9 million, and the sewer fund working capital was increased by $2.2 million. He advocated and supported the completion of the 10-year financial forecast, approved revisions to the city's purchasing ordinance as well. And at this time, I'd like to hand it over to Kevin to tell us about his community engagement.
And this guy did a lot. Community engagement. Supported and participated in many ribbon cuttings, grand openings, outreach events, and other community functions. Initiated community cleanup events at no additional cost from Waste Management. Supported the dedication of the Healing Grove and Community Garden at Pikes Peak Park in honor of the 14 individuals, including Benetta Betbadal, who was tragically killed in the 2015 San Bernardino terrorist attack. Provided strategies to ensure the continuation of community parades, including the Norco Horse Week Parade and the Norco Fair Labor Day Parade. Recommended the formation of a Citizens Advisory Group on Community Engagement, Communications, and Districting. Introduced the first Flag Day Ceremony and Community Choir Concert held at the George A. Ingalls Veterans Memorial Plaza, which informed and educated attendees about Old Glory. Led the George A. Ingalls Veterans Memorial Executive Committee to host the United States Navy Band Southwest Wind Ensemble at the Norco High School Performing Arts Theater for a community concert celebrating the nation's birthday. Hosted the League of Agricultural and Equine Centers at the George Ingalls Equestrian Event Center, and introduced the facility to cities, counties, and private organizations from all around the United States. Instrumental in coordinating donations to support and sponsor the POW MIA Monument at the George A. Ingalls Veterans Memorial Plaza. Volunteered over 1,400 hours at the George A. Ingalls Equestrian Event Center. Chaired the National Day of the American Cowboy event for the past 3 years, attracting hundreds of people to enjoy equestrian games and activities, as well as culture and history of the American cowboy. And finally, championed the launch of the Norco Newsroom, a new digital service that allows the city to better connect with Norco residents, visitors, and employees. And now I'll call up Berwin Hanna on economic development.
He approved the development of the Wood Springs Suites Hotel, presided over the completion of the Norco Village Shopping Center, and advocated for mitigation measures to address impacts on Norco and Corona residents. Approved the 6th Street Gateway development, the first major project on 6th Street in 10 years. Supported the city showcase at a city talk at the League of California Cities conference regarding the George Ingalls Equestrian Event Center and Silver Lakes. Presided over the Derby Room conditional use permit approval, reflecting a continuing trend of new investments in Norco. Advocated for Norco to establish a relationship with the LA 2028 Olympics Committee. Under public safety, advocated and supported revisions of the city's emergency operation plan, supported completion and approval of the city's local hazard mitigation plan, supported the California Office of Emergency Service to continue, grant to continue the Citizen Emergency Response Team, CER2, CERT program. Advocated and approved funding for special traffic enforcement, including permanent funding for 1 additional dedicated traffic deputy and 1 additional community service officer. Supported implementation of emergency vehicle preemption system on 6th Street and Hamner Avenue. Now I'll call up Councilman Newton.
Thank you. Good evening. So under capital projects, Mayor Hoffman suggested implemented changes to the city's capital improvement projects, electronic tracking informational system for residents, updated the urban forest specifications and standards for public use, approved the comprehensive trail master plan, and updated the trail circulation map to establish overall goals and how the city's trail system should be developed and maintained. Advocated and approved sound equipment installation at Clark Arena. Advocated and approved the Wayne Macon Shear Sports Complex backbone electrical infrastructure project. Advocated and approved the Nellie Weaver Hall heating, ventilation, and air conditioning project. Supported amendments of various agreements with Balboa Management Group to provide reliable groundwater for irrigation to Silver Lakes. Approved a new water supply connection with the city of Riverside. Advocated and approved improvements and a new monument sign at North Drive. Supported and approved the illuminated street sign program. Approved updated changes to the city's water and sewer operations ordinance. Supported the completion of street projects on Bluff Street, Chestnut Drive, Corona Avenue, Hamner Avenue, Hillside Avenue, Pedley Avenue, Reservoir Drive, River Road, River Drive, Temescal Avenue, Mustang Lane, Hillrise Lane, and whatever street all the other council members live on, and as well as slurry seal of 64 streets. Supported the completion of water main and storm drain improvement projects on Valley View, Hamner Avenue, Bluff Street, Temescal Avenue, and Corona Avenue, and supported the completion of trail fencing improvements on California Avenue, 5th Street, Reservoir Drive, Sierra Avenue, Pacer Drive, Arapahoe Street, Hillrise Lane, and Bronco Lane. So, and as you can see, for a part-time position, Ted's been a very busy gentleman.
Ted, do you want to say a few things?
You know, this year has been also a real learning experience for me. All those accomplishments don't happen by one person. This is a team. This is what we are. There's not one person that does everything and can't do everything. And as you students are here, you'll see that and you'll hear that from Mrs. Grunmeyer. That's what we are. A city is a group of people. Our staff members, they're sitting up here, public safety, the sheriff's department, and the fire department. That's what makes the city tick. That's what makes it go. They work. Our job is to give them the necessary tools to do the job. And that's what we do as leaders. And I don't want to, I just came back from a conference this morning, actually, I drove in. And I learned something from the CEO, the new CEO of the Pro Rodeo Cowboys Association. So I want to share this on leadership because he's a new leader too. And I'm glad the students are here. And the rest of you that are out there, especially Robin and Berwin, they've been in these positions before of leadership. But I want to share this with you because it's important. And what leadership is, the purpose. You call it a vision or a mission or an ideal or a cause. But successful leaders need to be pointed in the right direction. And they need to be able to inspire others to join in the common pursuit. Taking it as a step at a time, putting one foot in front of the other, is the key to achieving that purpose. People. Successful leaders have followers that are committed to the purpose and are motivated to be part of a movement or a community or a group that is bigger than the sum of all parts. Leaders need to be able to motivate those people who walk the talk in a unified manner. People are what can. That's why I said it takes, I hate to use the word, but it takes a village. Positivity. Overcome negativity and maintain positivity. Where the best leaders see those who are not positive in themselves, they need to work hard to share that positivity, to generate more positivity in their team and to help achieve the goals. One of the sidelights from George Taylor, he's the CEO that I listened to, was he says the best thing we have coming up was Facebook. Everybody got a chance to speak up. And I mean, the worst thing we have is Facebook, okay? Because that's all the negatives come out uncontrolled. So those are the things to think about. The presence. This is for us as leaders. Be there. Be involved. Listen. Don't be judgmental. Motivate people. Encourage others. Leaders need to be inclusive. Every member of the team has a critical role to play, and the success of the team is dependent on everyone being able to fill those roles successfully, having the right voice to their opinion, and have a say in the decision-making process. I learned this from a former council person that sat up there and told me, he says, we don't always agree, but your job up there on that podium is to make sure you give them a voice. This is their 3 minutes. Respect that. And I try to do that. Perfection. And for those of you who are fans of Coach Gaines from Friday Night Lights, it's very relevant. Being perfect is not what you think. I want you all to understand something. Being perfect is not about winning every argument or vote in our case. It's about you, your relationship to yourself, your family, your friends, the residents, your fellow council members, and our staff. Being perfect is about being able to looking everyone in the eye and know that you didn't let them down because you told them the truth. And the truth is that you did everything you could. There wasn't one thing more that you could have done. Can you live with that moment as best you can, with clear eyes and love in your heart, with joy in your heart? If you can do that, then you're perfect. And one other thing, as a Rotarian, I want to share this with you, and this is the way I make decisions up there. It's the Rotary four-way test. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? And will it be beneficial to all concerned? And to all my fellow council members, I hope we keep that as the 5 of us are up here and work together. Thank you.
It's my pleasure to present to you all those wonderful things we just said about you in a fancy folder. And also to give you a gavel of the recognition of your year of service, and thank you for all that you've done for the city of Norco. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Robin.
It's picture time.
Is it picture time?
Yeah.
I think I didn't use it right either. So I can do this. I think. Good
Here,
enough.
hold on.
Congratulations, buddy. It's a burden off your shoulders.
Yeah, it is.
All right, at this time, we're going to go ahead and go back to the presentation. It's on automatic license plate reader program with the city manager from our neighboring city of Eastvale, Mr. Brian Jones.
I had to pay the toll to cross the river, so we did have dinner at Silver Lakes on the way here, though, so we did spend money in Eastvale South. As I always joke with Kevin. I really appreciate you taking me tonight, and thank you so much. And I apologize about my tardy. I was out there at 7 o'clock and I couldn't figure out where all the lights are off and where am I supposed to be. So they said, come around back. So appreciate that my lieutenant was looking out for me. The automatic license plate reader cameras, earlier this year, my council approved an automatic license plate reader camera system. It's being used throughout California and many local agencies. It's a Oh, I'm still. Sorry. It's okay. Turn me off. I get it. I love that the council has power to turn you off on a podium. I'm not going to let my council do that. Earlier this year, they approved an automatic license plate reader camera system. It's a technology that assists our officers in understanding if there's criminal activity or known criminal activity coming into or out of our community. And I'll go into a little bit information. And Lieutenant Martin, that also works with you in your Norco Police Department and us, is here to assist me with this if you have any questions from the law enforcement perspective. But why ALPR? It'll enhance the law enforcement efficiency and effectiveness through technology. We're always looking for ways to empower and enable our officers to do a better job and know what's coming in and out of our community. Enhance public safety, deter criminal activity, alert law enforcement of vehicle people of interest, and provides investigative leads after a crime has been committed. So as you may have heard, we had an incident a couple weekends ago in our community on a Saturday night, and had we had ALPR, we could have seen where people were leaving or entering our city and what cars and license plates, and recognized that maybe a suspect was in the area. But we didn't have it in place yet, so we didn't have that technology. And we're looking to bring this technology to our community so that we can use that to help solve crimes faster and convict crimes faster, and give our law enforcement the capability to do their job even better. So how will ALPR be used? It'll be in criminal investigations, locating stolen vehicles. So if a stolen vehicle it comes into our community and it's reported stolen, the ALPR system will recognize that license plate. It will bing all the officers that are and the dispatch that there is a stolen vehicle that just entered our community at such and such location, and then we can, if we have available officers, we can saturate that area and find that stolen vehicle. It could also be if a known suspect or somebody that was wanted came into our community, we could know that they were in our community, or their vehicle at least was in our community, and we could keep an eye on that. So it provides an extra set of resources in the community. Will identify vehicles owned by people of interest shall only be used by official law enforcement business, and Riverside County ALPR technology usage. The Riverside County Sheriff's Department has a technology usage and privacy policy that we can go into a little bit more, but they are the only ones that have access to it. I don't have access to it. I don't want access to it, but they do have access to it for their purposes. This is in another community that has ALPR, the technology software said, company shared that this is a 1 year's information that they were able to ascertain with ALPRs in their community. They had 44 stolen cars. They had 124 suspects arrested, 26 felony vehicles recovered. And so, if your car was stolen, it's always nice to get that car back if you can in one piece. And so if before it goes to a chop shop or goes south of the border or anything like that, we can get that car back and into the rightful owners. So, and total carjacked vehicles recovered 4, embezzled vehicles recovered 21, and then just a number of great opportunities there. The city of Carlsbad, also where I formerly worked, has used ALPR, and they have recovered a number of stolen vehicles and wanted criminals in their community that are coming there either on vacation or visiting their shops or just coming through their town, and they're aware that somebody of interest or a suspect or somebody with a known wanted vehicle or a person is in their community, so it's been really good. Vigilant Solutions is the technology provider that was a sole source provider by Riverside County Sheriff's Department. They do a lot of this work in this community, and it's a proprietary software that they have. The patrol, and then we are also going to put some of these on our patrol vehicles. So as our patrol vehicles are driving around a shopping center parking lot, if a vehicle is of known suspicion in one of our retail shopping centers and a patrol car drives by, it'll ping and say this is either a stolen vehicle or this is a vehicle of interest. And then we will also have these on traffic signal cameras, and it's installed on the mast arm that extends the, and I'll have a picture of this in a little bit, and it's just a little small camera that you can barely see, and it just shoots the car as it's driving through the past the intersection, and we'll see that, and it gives real-time notification. So it reads the license plate, it goes up into the cloud in this controlled environment, it goes against all the databases that are known, and it will, and if it registers something, it instantaneously tells the officers that are in that area that there's something that just went through that intersection. So it's within seconds. So the city of Chino has them already around our border, and so that's what they look like on a mast arm. You can barely tell. They're on the far side of the, so as you're driving under it, they're looking at your license plate as you're driving away from the intersection. And up close, this is what they look like, and they're really small. They're 1 inch by 3 inch by 6 inch or something like that. So they're easy to install. And this is where we are going to be installing them in our community, and one of the opportunities is to install one on what's kind of on the border of Eastvale and Norco, but the intersection is completely in the city of Norco, and that's Citrus and Hamner. And if we were to put one north of there, we wouldn't be we'd need to be using a lot more cameras to do it, and we would like to consolidate and just have it right on the border, so that we have it at one location where people are exiting and entering our community. And to do this, we have decided that this was the intersection of Citrus and Hamner, the entrance to Silver Lakes in our community park there on the west. And so you would see we would put them on the as you're coming northbound, as you're coming into our city, and then as you're coming southbound, we would also do it to alert Norco PD that somebody was coming into your community from our community. So if a crime happened in our community and was going into your community, the same sheriff's department would be alerted. And we felt that if we were going to do this on your intersection, that we should provide some benefit to you as well, and notify you when crime is coming into your. So we would put those at no cost to the city of Norco. We would do all the installation and construction with a permit granted to pull. It's just literally pulling a little bit of wire up there to install the cameras, and then we have a modem that shoots back to and provides the connection. So, and then with that, if you have any questions, I'd be happy to entertain those. But I spoke with your city manager, Andy, and I said, you know, it'd be really efficient and effective use of government's money if we could put them on your signal because it's right where Citrus and Hamner come together. And he said, well, you know, this is a new technology for us. If you could share it with my council. And so I wanted to come down and seek your approval or thumbs up to provide a public safety enhancement on the border between Norco and Eastvale, and I think this would be a great advantage for both of us since we use the same law enforcement agency to provide our law enforcement services.
All right, so we'll start down. Greg, do you have any questions?
Good evening. Congratulations on your promotion.
Oh, thank you. I'm very blessed. It's great community and team to work with.
Just curious to what for the city of Eastvale, what's your overall cost that you're looking at for this technology, and also are there grants available?
We are using I don't, we have some funding available for this, and I don't know that we're using grants to install this. I believe we're spending close to $750,000, $870,000 maybe, right in that ballpark. Oh, we just got our bids in today. It's $756, so $750,000.
Okay.
So $750,000, and we're putting in, quotes assume 120, let's see. Well, you can see we have them at it. We're saying we're putting 6 at Citrus and Hamner, and then over at Riverbend, and then up by Archibald and Limonite, or 5 are going to go in, and then coming off the Limonite interchange, 6 are going to go in there, and then across the 68th crossing, and then up by Belgrave and Hamner, and then up by the Costco Amazon off of Cantu Galliano. So those are the areas that we were looking to put them. So we already have them over at Schleisman and what is that street over there? Hellman.
Or Hellman?
Yeah, Schleisman and Hellman. So we're spending about $750,000.
But do you know if there's grants available at all?
There are public safety grants. I don't know if there are grants available for this particular technology, but I'm sure there are out there to do this.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Kevin, do you have any questions?
No, I like it.
Thank you.
Berwin?
I think it'll be a good deal. It'll be a big help to the officers to be notified that there's a suspicious vehicle coming into the area and everything. So maybe if we save our pennies, we can get one of them. Thank you.
Ted?
Thought maybe you broke the mic. I know this technology is relatively new. It's been around since about 2009.
Right.
On the cars and the fixed positions that's relatively new for cities. I know that you're going to follow the sheriff's departments and the county councils on retention of the records policy.
Yes, they have a whole technology policy on the document. Yes.
Yeah, because that's the touchy point for most people on their privacy.
Yes, everything will be private and only available to law enforcement.
Okay. So you're going to try to get the mobile units also later on, or?
So we're going to be doing fixed units and mobile units when we roll this out.
Okay.
So I think we're
6 mobile units.
You're going to put them on 6 mobile units.
Okay, because like I said, when I was in San Jacinto, we used them in San Jacinto. It's a good program.
Yes.
I definitely, and believe it or not, it's just not stolen vehicles or cars that are on an APR and APB. We use it on a missing person's car. So it's a good program, and I'm fully supportive of that on the poll. It's just that, and I'll throw this back out to John or Andy, because we are putting this on city property, and that, do we need to have a hearing on this, or can we just do a voice approval on it?
Tonight? No, it has to be agendized.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Do we have to, can we just work through a permit with you guys to put it on your equipment since you aren't purchasing it?
The council's going to have to approve it, that's all.
Oh, okay.
John, I'm lost here. Thought this was on the agenda for...
Just a presentation?
Yes,
Unless there's, I didn't look at the consent calendar. Is it in the consent calendar?
It's designed to be a presentation here, but the idea was to actually give staff, administrative authorization to work with City of Eastvale to have this deployed.
Yeah, there's no decision agendized, though.
Okay. We spoke about that. Didn't know that there was a next step that needed to proceed there.
But again, I think you've gotten some direction, so it's not.
And I just say that because with the hearing, and Cheryl will know better than I do, how much days to it, since we have this presentation, could this be put on next council meeting?
Yeah, this doesn't require a public hearing.
Okay.
So
but
be agendized for the...
So it has to be agendized, though?
Yes, December.
Okay, so 19th. That we could do it in the December 19th meeting?
Yes.
Okay.
Just for clarification purposes, in terms of city's responsibilities, in terms of what we need to have to agendize this separately. It's my understanding the city of East Valley is going to basically control the data and the deployment and the operations of this technology, and therefore city of Norco, our only role in this process is you sharing that information when there is potential vehicles coming into the city of Norco, and also just giving you again the authorization to connect to the city's infrastructure.
What we were anticipating is that we would just get kind of a verbal agreement here, and then we can work with your Public Works Department to get an encroachment permit to install them. That's how Chino did it with us. We didn't have to get council approval to install it on our shared intersection or their technology on our poles or our part of the intersection, because Schleisman and Helmet is a shared intersection, and so they put it on our poles and their poles, and so we just considered it just like a technology improvement or changing out a light bulb or any technology equipment that we would put into a controller cabinet. It would just be an encroachment permit working with you so that our construction crews had coverage or liability in working in your public right of way. But we're going to fund everything. We're not asking for any contributions or any operations or maintenance. And if we need to do anything with the equipment, we would work with your Public Works Department to have our crews do that. So just for time schedule, my council is most likely going to be hearing this and hopefully approving this on the 12th, which is next Wednesday. And on the 15th, we're going to give authorization to the contractor, and they're going to start January 1. We can have them start in other locations if we're not capable of doing it down here, but we're going to get this contract rolling. And so if we have to hold out for a little while to go through some process in Norco, we can do that. But I would like to be able to execute it with everybody at the same time, if possible.
Do you have anything to add?
Sure. It just needs to be on the agenda. December 19th is fine. That's not a public hearing.
Yeah, we can do that. Just want to make sure that we know specific.
Yeah.
If I could offer some comments, I think what the city manager Eastville is asking administratively to do is not unusual. It's really similar to our agreements right now and operations of the signals that we have with Corona. They are constantly changing the technology on those signals as far as going from loops to cameras, and again, it's just a upgrade of technology. I mean, that's the way we kind of look at this. It's gathering different data. It's not managing the signal in that regard, but we could certainly look at that administratively, recognize that it's simply just a camera. It is taking information. We still control that intersection. They're just connecting to the pole. So as far as administratively, I don't have any problems with what they're requesting and how it's going to be maintained, because it's going to be the city of East Belleville maintaining it if any issues occur. I don't know if the council really needs an agreement to do that, because again, it's still in our control. We're just simply allowing some additional infrastructure to be placed on there that doesn't generate revenue.
Without beating this to death, there's some liability issues that are unrelated to the administrative issues.
Just again, as a follow-up with the city attorney, would this then require a formal agreement between the city of Norco
I think the permit process is fine.
In addressing those liability concerns that you're raising?
The permit process is fine, because
okay.
I have a question.
Yes.
With all the data that's being collected, I guess the only thing that I thought of when this was on the agenda is data breaches, because we hear about them all the time. So what protections are in place to prevent that from happening? And if it does happen, whose responsibility is that, and who's going to take the fall?
That would be under vigilance. They have for them to get information from the California DOJ and also the FBI, they have to work in tandem with those two agencies to ensure that their security of their system is unbreachable. But Vigilant would be ultimately responsible for that.
to my knowledge and to my awareness from all the other agencies that we have evaluated and worked with to understand this technology and the capabilities of this technology, there's been zero breaches of the technology thus far, and it's been around since 2009.
Okay, thank you.
Back in action for you
Okay.
on December 19th.
That would work for us on our schedule, so we can let them know we'll start on all the other cameras, and then on the 20th we'll let them know that we can start on this one.
All right. Thank you very much for
Thank you so much. I appreciate your support.
All right, at this time, we're going to move on to the regular agenda. So item 1 is City Council communications and reports on regional boards and commissions. So we'll start with Berwin.
Have nothing this week. We have all of our meetings next week, so my reports will come out the 19th.
Thank you. Councilman Hoffman.
Yeah, I want to say we attended the council attended the employee appreciation dinner, and I'll have to admit, Mayor Grunmeyer, you knocked the park that night. Thank you to all the employees. So good job on that. I attended the PRC Rodeo Convention, and I contacted Aaron Inget, who is the Director of Rodeo Administration, and shared with him about my goal of trying to put the Olympic or an Olympic event or related event in 2028 here in Norco, and he was very receptive of the idea. So we will we'll be working with EDAC and a few other people to see how far we can go on this and try to get it accomplished somehow or another. And then on a special note for all you Norco grads, our Norco High students, our current Norco High graduate, Amanda Hopp, is currently doing very well in the Miss Rodeo America pageant right now. She represents the state of California.
All right, thank you. Councilman Bash.
I had a busy week. First off, I went to Senior Advisory Committee meeting today, and two things really impressed me. Three things. One, Alejandra, as I told Brian today, she's doing a great job over there. I'm really pleased. Two things that maybe seniors aren't aware of is, one, there's free lawyer services for wills and things like that has been there for quite a while, and it's actually heavily utilized, but I think it's a really great program for people to go, and it's totally free. It's pro bono by a pretty good law firm, a couple of law firms actually, and I'm real happy about that. And then I'd never watched volleyball from a chair. I didn't know that like 80-year-olds could get so excited. I mean, it was pretty amazing. I mean, they really get into that game, so it was a lot of fun. Then WRCOG, the two principal things that happened at the Western Regional Council of Governments was they began to move forward on the Innovation Center in Riverside. They chose that site over Murrieta and Moreno Valley in Paris. What this is it would be an incubator of businesses, an innovation center, think tank, to try to generate and connect with the UCR and to basically create a center for younger people to go and build businesses out of this incubation center. But it's much more than that. It's a kind of a full service place where you can go and not only do businesses but create charities, have charities lock into them, find volunteers. Pretty exciting. We made the first step going towards that. I sat on that committee. I'm really, really excited about it. RCA, Riverside Conservation Authority, is also very exciting. We had a new board change, although we kept the chair in place. What was saddest about both of those meetings is the great council people that aren't returning. Several council people and supervisors are retiring, but some just got voted out, and it's really sad, and it's going to create a really serious gap because some of the people that were voted out held very, very key positions that took years for them to get. So I felt really bad for them. And then Friday, we have our Pearl Harbor Day. Our guest speaker is Melissa Melendez. I think we have a really good program. We're kind of following the format of last year. We're keying in on the 100th anniversary of the World War I, and then we're focusing on World War II veterans, Pearl Harbor survivors. I have 3 coming. And the Korean War, the Forgotten War. I don't know, part of this is sort of near and dear to my heart. There was recently a study that was done in which young people said that America's never been great and is not great now. And I think one of the things that really needs to happen is we need to continually putting that message out there that I got news for you. You know, we've had the racism and all the different things, the problems, but America, those have always been starting points. And I'm very proud of this country. And so for me, if it's just one more place we can say, hey, wait a minute, we're not perfect, but we try harder than just about anybody else. So if you can make that event 10 a.m. sharp, you get in at 9 o'clock, you go to the 5th Street gate. If you're one of the volunteers, you go to the 4th Street gate prior to 9 o'clock. We do a wheelchair basketball tournament, and I asked the mayor if we could do this. Jerry E., I call him Jerry E., had a stomach ache the last day of the tournament, went home and came back, and then was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, and he passed away just a few days ago, just really fast. And this was an amazing person. He didn't have anybody in this tournament, but he organized it with Richard Boyle for 3 years, and he was a very top-flight attorney, a really wonderful person, and he was gone in less than 3 weeks. So I'm hoping we can close our meeting in that way. And then one other thing, I had the great joy of traveling with the LDS. We did a Christmas concert in the chapel, and if any of you don't know, there's this incredible stained glass in the prison chapel that I'm trying to save. But it was really, really amazing to have this concert, which I didn't sing, but the inmates really got into it, and I have to say, and it was one of the really high points of being on council. It was really, really cool. And that's all I have, Madam Mayor. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Councilman Newton?
Thank you. Basically, no report. Chino Basin board meeting is tomorrow afternoon. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, and I have nothing to report. At this time, we'll move on to item number 2, City Council consent items. All items listed under the consent calendar are considered to be routine and may be enacted by one motion. Prior to the motion to consider any action by the council, any public comments on any of the consent items will be heard. There will be no separate action unless members of the council or the audience request specific items be removed from the consent calendar. Items removed from the consent calendar will be separately considered under item number 3 on the agenda. So at this time, are there any items requested to be pulled? It's been moved and seconded to approve.
Please vote on this item. Motion carries unanimously.
All right, very good. So we will move into public comments. This is the time when persons in the audience wishing to address the City Council regarding matters not on the agenda may speak. Please complete the speaker card in the back of the room and present it to the City Clerk so that you may be recognized. The Ralph M. Brown Act limits the City Council's ability to respond to comments on non-agendized matters. At the time such comments are made, the City Council shall not discuss or take action relative to any general public comment.
Bill Naylor.
Sorry, it's my
It's going to take a little while to get used to that, I think. I know when I was chair, I had that same problem. Congratulations. Council, a couple of thank yous are appropriate at this time, and I just wanted to take a minute to do so. First of all, in the last week, we had several trail maintenance days, and I wanted to thank publicly some of the folks that did assist me. I'd like to thank Chad over here, first of all, for obtaining 100 caps for the trail fencing over on 3rd Street, where we have had rumors that some kids have been vandalizing it. We're assuming that it's that situation. And we are taking steps to address that problem through some of the principals in that area. They're going to be actually maybe setting up some stings to see if they can catch the kids who's doing it. So that would be great. The second part of the thank yous that I would like to make would be to Robin Grunmeyer and the students from Norco High School. We had a number of students, and Robin and some of the city volunteers and Norco Horsemen's Association that came out, and we replaced I think it was about 110 caps for the post along 3rd Street. And we also replaced one post at, I think it was 2100 Temescal. And some of the kids got to see how much work that actually is. And Sharon was telling me that she was really surprised at some of the comments that the kids were making about, well, gosh, this is a lot of work. Why do these kids do this kind of stuff and such? So the idea is a little bit of peer pressure, guys, will really help. Okay, the next thank you would go to, and it's very appropriate tonight, we had the pastor from Grace Fellowship here tonight, and they were able to provide a number of students to help us this last Saturday on fence repair and post replacement along 6th Street in getting ready for this Christmas parade that's coming up. So I did send out notification both to Chad and Brian with photos and such. So I'm really glad that they were able to help the city with volunteer program on that. And again, thank you very much.
Thank you, Bill.
Corinne Holder.
Good evening, all. I just noticed that there are certain members that generally come to these meetings that are missing today. So I'm going to put on my Parks and Rec Commissioner hat. And Kevin, you brought up Friday, December 7th, we have an event, and Saturday, Santa is coming to town. We have the city, Parks and Rec. Everybody is working hard to put this together. We have breakfast with Santa from 8 to 11 in the morning. Our Christmas festival all day long. Our parade starts at 5. So Santa will be at breakfast. He will be visiting during the festival, and then he will be at the parade. So we hope everyone comes out and joins us and has a good time. Celebrate a little Christmas, do a little shopping, watch parade, see the lights, and that's it.
Thank you.
Mayor, that concludes public comments.
All right, so at this time, we will go to agenda item number 5. No new evidence will be heard from the public as the public hearing has been closed regarding the items listed on the agenda. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve. Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second.
Please vote on this item. Council members Bash and Newton, please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
All right, agenda item number 6, City Council, City Manager, and Staff Communications. We'll start with Steve. Mr. King, do you have anything?
No.
Chad? Matt? Cheryl?
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. Councilman Newton? Thank you. Mr. Harper?
No.
Mr. Okuro?
Yes, I'd like to make a couple of comments. With the passage of Measure R, I know a lot of residents are wondering what comes up next. Just want to remind folks in the audience that the first step is putting together the Citizens Oversight Committee. And at the City Council meeting on December 19th, we'll have an agenda item to solicit public input regarding the guidelines pertaining to the formation and operations of the Citizens Oversight Committee. So that item will be on the agenda to get public input. And following that, the next city council meeting, we'll be bringing back to the city council a formal resolution pertaining to the Citizens Oversight Committee, and thereafter a resolution will be adopted that lays out the rules, policies, and procedures regarding the operations of the Citizens Oversight Committee. So I just want to give you a heads up in terms of what is coming up at the next city council meeting.
Thank you, Andy. Councilman Hoffman?
Just a reminder, Corinne talked about the breakfast with Santa. For those of you that don't want to get up at 8 and you want to go at 9 o'clock, you can go to Seniors Pets breakfast at 9 a.m. at the Senior Center for $3, Berwyn, right? That's our meal. Here come the both. All right, we'll be there.
Councilman Hoffman, or Hannah. Sorry, it's my first day. Yeah, I got the H's down here. Yeah, sorry.
Congratulations again, Mayor, and I just got to say it's amazing how much quicker you got this meeting through than the former mayor did.
Thank you.
That's a good record.
Lieutenant, you want to switch sides? Lieutenant Burdick? Anything? Chief Lane?
My second.
Ooh, thank you. Gina?
Oh, man.
Brian?
Just as a thought, many of you know that Pat Overstreet is, just that when we adjourn the meeting, that she's in our thoughts and prayers as she's going through medical procedures and that type of thing and fighting cancer. So.
Thank you. So at this time, I'm going to go ahead and pass the meeting over to Councilman Bash to say a few words about Jerry and adjourn the meeting.
So anyway, I pretty much told you everything about Jerry. He was a wonderful man. The family is incredibly private. But I would just like to have a moment of silence in honor of him. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
All right, I now declare this meeting adjourned.